right, guys, we're back in the booth tonight. I wanted to thank our sponsor of the video, lurebuild.com. Jimmy has excellent blanks, eyes, stencils from Insane Custom Stencils. He has his own brand. So go check him out, lurebuild.com, for all your painting and lure supply needs. So let's get to it. All right, we are back at it for video number 2 on Sunday. And what we're going to be doing is, this is a small 135 megabass. And this design was done by an amazing artist on our lure group. His name is Ben Hill. Ben actually came up with this design, and I just wanted to throw my twist on it. Ben is really an amazing artist. You need to go check him out. But I've done this one in what I call orange speckled crawl. So what we're going to do is, I've done the one side, and I'm going to flip it over, and we're going to go ahead and do it on the other side, and I'm going to show you how I do it. The cool design that Ben came up with is, a crawl actually goes backward. So the swim bait is done in reverse. So the tail is up where the mouth is, and the claws are where the tail is. And the tail is actually clear, so it's kind of a unique looking bait. But I did want him to give a shout out to Ben for being my inspiration to do this. And it's going to be a fun bait to do. So let's get started. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and lay that out. I want to get some white. I'm not going to use auto-borne sealer on this. I'm just going to use some regular titanium white. And I'm just going to put a little bit on this to get the base on it. So I'm not even going to put it in my helping hands. I'm just going to run over it. It's not going to be, I just wanted something to kind of, and I'm not even really going to cover the whole thing, because I'm going to use some other paints to kind of give it a fleshy look. So we're just going to do that. And it's not a whole lot, just a little bit, as you can see. Put a little bit more right here. And I'm going to clean the gun out. And then we're going to use a paint that I have not used on the channel. It really is good to be back painting again. My hands are not 100%, but they're a lot better than they were a couple of weeks ago after I went to the doctor. They had gotten pretty bad, so it was kind of my own fault. I just don't like going to the doctor. I'm a chicken. So, word of advice, if you have a problem, go to the doctor. Don't wait, because it can turn into something not so good, which it did for me, because I was hard-headed. So let's clean this tip off. And I'm going to use some of these paints. These are model color paints. You can get them at Hobby Lobby. One of them is flat flesh and the other is green brown. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to use the flat flesh first. And I'm just going to kind of put a little bit over this white. I'm not putting any reducer in it, because I'm not going to use that much. It's a little thick, so. And it's a lot thicker than some of these other paints that I use. But I'm not going to use it for I'm just kind of spotching it on. that's what I'm looking for. It's not a, I still want some of the white showing. I know they're gonna drive me crazy about popping my airbrush, but let's see here. Let's clean this out. It is very thick. Probably should reduce it a little bit because it will end up clogging this 0.18 up. But all I'm trying to do is put a little bit of spotch on it. And I love that color. That flat flesh is a neat color to use. It's a good color to use if you're going to use it up, to cover a bait. I'm just using it to spotch this one. Now I'm going to use the green brown, and I'm going to kind of mix it in too. These paints are a little bit thicker than it will choke it down. Like it has here. And I'm just going to cover it just a little bit. We'll let that dry. I'll probably go ahead and heat set that. Let it dry for a minute. But it will give it a really kind of flesh tone look for what I'm trying to do. I'm not looking for it to be perfect. All I'm wanting it to do is kind of be a little bit spotchy. I'm gonna go ahead and heat set this really fast. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get a little bit of black and I'm gonna put it in the gun, some golden. Put just a few drops in here. And see where we're at pressure-wise. I'm gonna cut it down a little bit. Tip. Been having a lot of tip dry today. A lot more than normal. I don't know if it's the weather changing, getting cold, or what it is. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna run it up the tape line. More on the, I'll put it on the tape first, and then I'll just run it on down. And then what I usually do is I'll run it back one more time, just to make sure I got it the way I want it. Spider webbing a little bit. And I'll get that off. Okay, let me get that off with a Q-tip. Just dab it on your alcohol and just kind of touch it up. I'm not really too worried about that because I'm going to run a stencil over that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to run my wingding back over this. Well, that was a little thick, a little thicker than I wanted. But I'm still going to hit it with a speckled stencil, so I'm not really worried about that. That's better. One thing I did, I want to do something a little different on this. I want to do the top half of this, not the middle. I'll leave that open. And what I did was I laid that in like this to go into that. At the base. Okay, we just went straight up from there, back to here. Which I'm going to cover the majority of that up anyway, so I'm not really worried about it. So we'll take our small stencil here. Get some of our dots in there. Get that on here. Go all the way down the top. Go ahead and take this off. Nothing bad about these gloves. Okay. I'll take this over here. Stick it on the side of my booth so I have it for later. And I'll put an eye on this so you can actually see it a little bit better. I can figure out what I've done here. Here we go. I've already taken them out. That makes a little more sense. I'll go ahead and just set the eye on so you can kind of get a visual of what I'm doing. Really. Okay. Now this is a little bit, this bait right here is going to take some practice. I haven't done this one. I did the other side, I think, a little bit better than what I did this other. But it gives it a unique look, especially once you get the claw on it. The claw is the detail that you need to finish up with. And what we're going to do is, I've got a stencil from Insane Custom Stencils that I'm going to use on this. And I'm going to put it right there. And what I'm going to do, I don't want to use that one right now. We're going to need that in a minute. Get the black. So we'll, if I can hang on to things, you can tell my hands aren't totally better. I can't grip stuff really good yet. So we're going to put that up, and I'm going to grab my other gun, and I'm going to put a little bit of white in it. And we'll shut this gun down a little bit. So we'll put a little bit of white in here. Open it up until we get a little bit coming. There we go. And what we'll do, you just want to make sure you line it up. This is the tricky part. I don't know how Ben's doing this, but this is how I do it. You know, it's just my take on it. I just want to make sure that I'm touching somewhat right in here. And make sure I'm on the tail itself. I don't want to be at the lower end of it. And I have these gloves on, so it's not making my life very easy right now. So let's go ahead and just hit it with the white. Just get it going. And we'll go ahead and take that off. You can see it's pretty cool. That's just the start of it. It just, the claw actually really makes the bait. which I think he does his more of handwork than I do. He's very good. He's a very good artist, Ben Hill. If you hadn't seen his work, check him out at our lure painting groups. He is very excellent. So I'm gonna heat set this real quick. Let that dry just for a second. I'm going to go ahead and mix some of my orange candy up that I need for this. And I'll actually take let's see, I got orange candy here. And we'll take some of that green, brown, and run it over the claw. Go ahead and mix this up good. I'm going to put a little bit of 4011 in this. Just get a little bit in there. I'm going to let it sit for a second. And I'm going to put a little bit of this brown, mottled brown, green, brown in the gun. I'm going to clean this white out real quick. Let that white dry good. Reline it up, and we will add a little bit of this to it. I'm not going to need a lot. And I'll reset this up on it. These stencils from Russ Allen are great. They're so versatile. I mean, you can use them for so many different things, and this is one of them. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to lay this back on, and I'm just going to touch it up with the there we go. I don't really want to change it too much. Just get a little bit on there. I'm good with that. Have a little bit of white showing. I'm going to heat set that really quick. Get that down. Clean this out really fast. Get this up. This paint's thick. I want to get it out of my gun. Tip out. Make sure it's good to go. All right. So let's see here. I'm gonna put a little bit of this mottled stencil on these claws. Not a lot, just a little bit. Having trouble seeing through that. What in the world? That would help if I had pressure. That'd probably be the reason. Okay, so we're gonna take this and I'm just gonna hit a little bit on here. I am having all kind of trouble today. I don't know why. I guess it's because I hadn't painted in a while. I don't know. Guns are acting a little on the funny side today. I'm going to get this over this. Get a little bit on here. There we go. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and add my candy into this. So this will change the way it looks. Let that dry. I'll go ahead and do the shell, what I'm going to do on it. Get what little bit of candy in this gun I'm going to use. That's going to be a little bit too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run up on my black lines. The orange just changes the whole way it looks. It really does. Okay. Shut that down just a little bit. I'll go ahead and let this dry for a second. I'm going to go ahead and hit that claw. I put a little bit of orange on it. Don't want to touch it a whole lot. It's just getting it lined back up where you want it. And we'll just hit a little bit of orange on this. And we'll kind of tie it back into the color of the bait. All right. So now what I'm going to do is, well, I got to figure out what I'm going to do. I don't use helping hands that much. I don't really like them. I have a few of them. Only for these swim baits. The swim baits are the only thing that I ever use them for, really, to be honest with you. I don't use them for a lot of other things. Used to years ago, but I like using the thing that I have now. All right, so we're gonna let that dry, and that's what you got. It's got a kind of a unique look. It's different. I'm gonna have to darken this up because I got the stenciling is a little darker on the bait on the other side, so I'm gonna darken it up here as soon as I can get this to dry. It's a little bit darker on the other side, and I would rather have it the same. So we're gonna just slide off. What we'll do is put this back on. Yeah, I am having one heck of a time with this tonight. Okay. on the other side, I've got a stippling bit for my Sotar, but I'm actually gonna do the popsicle stick technique on this one. And if you haven't seen this, well, this will be something good for you to see. What we're gonna do is we're gonna block off this side because I don't want it on this side. All I want it on is this side over here. So I'm just gonna block that off with a paper towel. That's just an easy way to do it. And then, oh, where'd I put my popsicle stick? Under this, of course, where I gotta stick my hand. So now I gotta move this back. So we're just gonna put that in there and run it over. And that'll just keep that from getting any of that stippling on that we don't want to do. So we're going to turn the pressure up, and I'll open the gun on up. If I can get the gun to work. I don't know what my problem is with these guns tonight. And what I'm going to do is, you can take it and just stipple it on. Farther back, it'll be smaller. And all I'm doing all I was trying to do, which I did, was I stippled the clear on it. That's one way to do it. You just stick your gun at an angle and shoot it down. And you can see what it does on the paper towels. It's just a little trick you can do if you haven't done that one. It's not hard to do. And we'll take that off. And what it does is it leaves the back clear where your claws are, because really there's no part of the body there. So I'm going to leave that clear, and we do it like that. So what we'll do, I am going to do a little more on this top than what I did, because I did it on the top on this other side. So what we're going to do is we'll just grab the gun again, just make sure it's cleaned up. Dry tip is not killing me tonight. And we'll just take it and just try it out on this. And it's doing it. A little farther back will give you a bigger one. And that kind of gives it a a realistic look. It gives it a roughed up look. Okay, I think that'll do it. We'll let that dry for a minute. I'll clean this out. Kind of a, like I said, it's a cool, you know, it's kind of funny, you know, I was talking to Kyle, and we were talking about this, and I was telling him I had, you know, was trying to come up with an idea for this, and it was so weird that Ben had posted it, and it looked so good, and it was what I saw in my head. I just hadn't had time to sit down and mess with it like normal, because like I said, I'd hurt my hands. I haven't been able to do my normal thing, but it was just a super idea by Ben to do this, and it's just really neat. And I'm giving him, tell you what, Ben, that is just out of this world how you did it. Yours looks amazing. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and end the video there. All I'm going to do is I'll let it dry, and then I'll put a coat of UVLS on it. So give it a try. It's something different, something new, something just really wild to kind of stretch your talents out. So hit the like button if you like the video, subscribe, hit the bell notification. It's great to be back. I really appreciate all the support I get, and I will see you next time. Thanks.